Welcome back everybody to another video. In this video we're going to talk about bookshelves and tower speakers. Before I begin, let me tell you about my future video. Most likely I'm going to drop it in August. It's going to be a review on a 65-inch TCL 4K 240 motion 120 Hz refresh rate, I'm assuming. But whenever I get that, hopefully by the end of this month, I can do a review on that next month sometime. Also, never mind my wire management. I haven't decided to drill holes in my bookshelf or not to hide the wires better. I haven't decided yet, so just FYI. And before I begin on talking about my take on the bookshelf and tower speakers, I'm going to give you guys what the experts say about these floor standing towers and bookshelves. So for the floor standing tower speakers, some of the advantages are that they have a full range sound, better bass response, play louder, separate subs not needed. Some of the disadvantages of that is that they take more floor space, they're more expensive, the placement is crucial. For the advantages of the bookshelf, they have less footprint space, more versatile for placement options, less expensive, visually less intrusive. And some of the disadvantages of a bookshelf is that they need separate subs for bass response. Being that it's a smaller size may limit deep, powerful bass production at a higher volume. Sounds should not be on floor without some kind of stand or bookshelf. So my take on this subject matter, and let's just use the speaker driver, the same size speaker driver for both bookshelf and tower speaker. So if you only use or listen to music and only use your front two channels, tower speakers is the way to go. For me, I use a full surround setup for music listening, movie watching, so I prefer a good bookshelf over a good tower speaker, because ultimately all the bass is rerouted to the subwoofer, whether you're using a tower or bookshelf, if you want to get that full dynamic bass response. Every time I purchase a tower speaker, such as a Martin Logan brand, Bowers & Wilkins, Yamaha, Polk, etc., I end up returning that tower speaker to get the same brand but in the bookshelf version. And if I keep that tower speaker, I will use that for my back surrounds. And for some reasons, I like the sound of a bookshelf because it seems to flow more fluently when I'm watching a movie. And I am gonna assume that less is more, because on a tower speaker they got multiple drivers for different things. You got the tweeter, you got the mid-range driver, the woofer, and a subwoofer. And like I said, multiple drivers on the towers because they're there to reproduce different frequency ranges. On a bookshelf, it's pretty much your tweeter, your mid-range driver, and perhaps a woofer. And then both towers and bookshelf, you got your two-way or your three-way design. So I don't know if it's because the tower has multiple drivers that it doesn't seem to flow as good as a bookshelf to me. But just from watching or listening on a bookshelf, it just, like I said, it seems to sound better. Doesn't mean it sounds better, but it seems to sound better. If anything, it flows better when it's a bookshelf. So that's kind of my experience with the bookshelf and the tower speakers. But to be fair, I'm sure if I spent more than $3,000 on a pair of towers, that then I will notice more of a difference in sound quality over a bookshelf. So to be fair, You know, obviously more is better most of the time, because towers, they do cost a little more for the same type, because obviously because you got more drivers and more, what do you call that, a bigger cabinet, so of course they're going to cost more. So in this instant, is more better? I don't know, but I just prefer bookshelf over towers, just the way that it sounds to me. So in summary, bookshelves versus tower speakers. I'm not worried about the low frequency bass response, because bass will be handled by your subwoofer. I'm not worried about space or an eyesore, because that will be subjective to the individual. Not worried about the full range sound, because I use my bookshelf as a surround sound and not purely as a 2-channel speaker. Whichever you decide to go with, tower or bookshelf, what really will matter is the make and model of that speaker, so that it will perform to your standards. For towers or bookshelves, my go-to brand, for example, will be the Martin Logans, the Definitive Technology, Bowers & Wilkins, Klipsch, and Polk. But that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Like, subscribe. Which do you prefer from your experience? What brands do you own? Comment below. Keep it friendly. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.